Welcome back to a coffee break. I hope that your first week of testing and all of the changes to the schedule and kids not knowing where they're supposed to go and us not knowing where we're supposed to be either, and I hope it's going well. I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I probably shouldn't, but I do. It is my version of TikTok, I suppose. And the other day I ran across a very brief snippet of an interview with B.B. King, one of the premier blues artists of all time. And they asked him about his meeting with Elvis Presley. And B.B. King said when he first met Elvis, Elvis was a teenager hanging out in the recording studio. He was recording a little bit here and there, but he wasn't anybody yet. And he said he was a very shy kid, didn't talk a lot, he asked a few questions about what was going on, this, that, and the other. But he said, all in all, I wasn't impressed. I was not impressed with Elvis Presley. He said he was just some kid, and he had a little talent, but there wasn't really anything there. But he said later on, when Elvis discovered who he was, and especially after the Ed Sullivan Show, which launched his career to the universe, B.B. King said, then we all knew this kid was going to be great. And I struggled with that myself in the kids that I talk to in our building. Which version of them am I seeing? Because high school kids, they're a different animal, and they look a lot like adults, but they're not. They look like they ought to be fully formed human beings, but they're not. And so when I'm talking to kids in the office, I'm trying to see past what I'm seeing, if that makes any sense, to who is this kid going to become? What is the greatness that lies within? And my interaction with him or her, as an authoritarian adult, whether I'm a teacher, principal, whatever my title is in school, I am an authoritarian adult. And every impact I have with that kid matters. Every impact helps to determine who that kid's going to be later in life. And I'll be honest with you, I screw it up. I screw it up a lot. I missed the mark. Hopefully, I'm hitting the mark more than I'm missing it, but I am not perfect at it at all. And so I encourage you, as you're coming into the Christmas season especially, but just generally, in general, as you're dealing with kids in class, and they've got their headphones on when they're not supposed to, and they've got their phones out when they're not supposed to, they're not on their Chromebook when they're supposed to be, they're talking to their neighbor when they're supposed to be quiet, they're working on something quietly in the back of the room when they're supposed to be contributing to a discussion. When you see that kid, try to look past that. That kid's still becoming. That kid is still growing. That kid is still nurturing. And every interaction that you have with that student matters. We'll see y'all next week.